Welcome. Today I'm just going to go out for a bit of a ride and thought I'd do a 1000k review. I'm actually I'm over the 1000k now. I've got 1083 kilometres as we speak. Anyway, let's hit the road. I know it's been a while, and since I did the 500k review, and this has taken longer than I had expected. Had a few issues. I've had some medical issues which have slowed me down a bit. It's also the middle of winter, and then we have the lockdowns, which we're in the middle of one right now. So for instance, today this prevents me from going more than 5 kilometres from where I live. So I mean, I had planned to actually head out to the Devil Bend Reservoir to do this, but that's not going to happen. So, just a gentle ride out to Tyab and back. Oops, traffic. What are my thoughts about the bike? Well, I love it. I really have no complaints. I believe it suits its purpose for what I bought it for well. In essence, I consider it to be a fantastic cruising bike with the occasional off-road activities, which it handles quite well. I've since I've had it, I've added a few accessories. There's a pouch here mounted on the stem where I put my phone, my wallet, my keys. There's the pannier rack on the back, and the bag that goes on it as well. Very useful from time to time, especially when I go up the shops and do a bit of shopping. As I said, when I was looking for a bike like this, I'll be honest, I found it hard to find something within the price range that meets the spec of this bike. There's plenty of European bikes, there's plenty of Chinese bikes, even American. Some of them are well priced, but then getting them into the country is a pain. So, all in all, I feel that this bike has proved to be everything I was expecting it to be. So, a couple of things I'd like to comment on, and that is that any sort of mechanical device like this, you need to maintain it. And so I just thought I'd point this out, that you don't just use it and abuse it and have it last forever. So I just thought I'd point out a few things that you need to check on a regular basis. Number one, all the pivot points around the where you've got the hexagon nuts for the suspension points. I would strongly recommend that probably once every 6 months or so you would check those. I've been around engineering for long enough to know that there's no such thing as a permanent lock. I know they use Nylox and they use Loctite and all sorts of things, but I have discovered that things can come undone, and I've had that happen with this bike on one occasion. There was only one loose screw. It obviously only just started to come loose. I've since tightened it up. As I said, that's not unusual for bikes like this. The other thing, brakes. I would suggest that you look at possibly, I'm going to do it very soon, after my first 1,000 k's, I'm going to change the oil in the brakes. Look, I don't want to go into the science of this, but there's good reason for that. I was in the hydraulics game for 30 odd years, and I've noticed that my front brake's okay, but my back brake is a little bit spongy. I have a suspicion that there might have been some trapped air in there, and I'm going to bleed it and fix it. So, and the other thing too, hydraulic fluids do break down over a period of time, especially with hot and cold conditions. So, probably worth considering changing. Tyres, check your tyre pressures regularly. I've seen some debates about the suspension on this bike. Yeah, look, it's not top end. I know that. I knew that when I bought it, but it's good enough for what I want it to do. I mean, at some time in the future, I might look at putting a set of Fox shockers on it. Who knows? That's another thing I just realised that there's been a bit of debate about, and that's the gearing cassette. I've seen some comments about how you might have to change it within 1,000 kilometres. Oh, you might have to change your gearing. Well, no, I'm here to tell you no. Look, it's like any sort of mechanical device. Use a bit of common sense. Lubricate them, clean them, don't abuse them, and you'll get a reasonable amount of life out of it. So, I asked myself the question, how could I improve this bike? Well, the two areas I think that I might look at sometime in the future, both of them will cost money, and that, as I alluded to before, the shock absorbers, the front shocks, I think would probably improve the bike considerably. Although that depends upon what the type of riding I'm going to be doing, so it's hard to say. I think the one area that I would really love to improve, and that is the gear ratio. Look, as a touring bike, it's quite acceptable, but there are times when I come into certain areas where I'd like to be able to climb some steeper hills, and when I'm out on the open road, cruising along, it'd be good if I could have a higher gear, just to give me a bit more speed. So once I'm past the warranty stage, I might, over the course of the next year or two, seriously consider looking at upgrading both the shock absorbers and the rear gearing. Now, the rear gearing, it's interesting. I've been looking at an internal planetary system called Rolloff. Looks really interesting. I'm going to do some research on this and seriously look at how well it would adapt to this bike, and I might do a video on that at a later date. It's a good all-purpose bike that I love riding. My wife loves it. She takes it out. It at the price point, I think it's very competitive, and I think that it's a good bike. So, how comfortable is the bike? Very comfortable. So I'm just entering Tyab. Going to get a little bit bumpy along here. This is what I was talking about. It's a corrugated concrete, and yet riding over it quite comfortable. Tell you what, this is where e-bike come into their own. This is a fairly windy day, and I've got a fairly strong, it looks like a northwesterly wind. I'm heading straight into it, and it's effortless riding. This is fantastic. Oh, I suppose that's something else I should bring up. So range, as far as the battery's concerned. Okay, so the best I've done was around 70 kilometres. Now the thing is, with that, I did a lot of riding without the motor. It was a 70k round trip, and there's a long stretches where I just pedalled as a normal bike, and I would intermittently put the motor on to give me assistance when I felt I needed it. The worst case scenario is where I just left it on level 1 for the whole trip, and I got around 35 kilometres. And it was a bad day. It was a really strong wind. I was up and down lots of hills. So actually it wasn't bad. So, in essence, I would suggest that you would probably, for normal riding, you would get somewhere between probably 30 and 50 k's, depending upon how much effort you put in and so forth. Never had a problem with the battery in respect to charging. Take it off, put it on a charger, it all works. I don't know how interested you are, but I'm recording this with this GoPro. This is a GoPro 9 in a medium mod housing, and I've got the lens mod lens. Again, I'm also very happy with this setup. It does a pretty good job. I'm using the Rode Go mic, radio mic system. I find it very successful. In essence, what I do, I put the little wind hood on top of the mic itself, put it in my pocket, and away I go. It works very well. I have a GoPro 7 pointing that way, and I have a GoPro 5 at the back. And again, that's another thing I love about this bike. Plenty of points, plenty of areas I can mount different things, put in different brackets. I've been experimenting with lots of different things. Works really well. If you want to get into e-bike riding, I really, really recommend this bike. And you know, in general, riding e-bikes are fun. Lots and lots of fun. So I'm at the end of my ride. I've just been down to Tyab and back, well within my 5k's limit, as mandated by the lockdown. So I'm going to sign off at the moment, and until next time, thank you for watching.